going on, guys? Sinumatic, and this is a new series on my page called Sinumatic Thinks, and it's where I'll be talking about my views and opinions on certain topics. And the good thing about this series is you guys get to interact by, you can leave me topics that you want me to discuss or give my views on, and I'll get to a lot of those. I don't know if I'll get to everyone's topics or there are things they want me to talk about, but I figured I would start it off with the edgy topic: prostitution. So what do I think about prostitution? Well, first off, let me give you a little brief history about prostitution. It's basically the act of selling sex, and this practice has actually been going on since the ancient times in Greece and other places. Basically, some religions and cultures way back in the day used to practice this as not a bad thing. Matter of fact, some people paid for sex before they got married, like as a ritual type of thing. But anyways, if you ever watched any old Western movies like the 50s or, 30, 40, 50s movies, like the old black and white, some were in color, but the old Western movies, even Clint Eastwood movies, basically prostitution in those movies were great. Prostitution was set up to where you'd have these little bitty towns and nomad travelers, or whatever you want to call them, guys that travel from place to place to place. They would stop in these little towns, and there would always be a prostitute, because these guys just, roamed the wilderness. They didn't have wives, so when they came to these small towns, what better way to get service than to pay for it? So they stopped through the town, they'd pay for a prostitute, they go about their way. The downside, honestly, to me, the downside of prostitution is sexually transmitted diseases, especially AIDS and things like that. Now, I think when you take out those things, and hopefully I'm looking in the camera, because a couple people said, Sinumatic, you never look in the camera, and I say, because the camera's up at the top, and I moved it down a little bit. But, basically, the biggest downfall, like I said, is AIDS and gonorrhea, syphilis, all that kind of stuff. And if we didn't have those type of things, we didn't have sexually transmitted diseases or anything like that, then I definitely would think it would be just a great thing, like a great thing. But looking at my past, growing up, I've always been able to find girlfriends, and I'm married now, so now I don't have to worry about it at all. But in my earlier years, when I was interested in having sex, I never really had a big problem finding women to date or have steady relationships with, or even if I just wanted to go have sex, I could usually within a couple weeks find a person that didn't care. They just wanted to have sex also. So I never really had to worry about it. But I do think that there are a lot of people in society that have problems interacting with people, especially when it comes to women, and they don't know how to get a relationship going with the woman. They don't know how to just get the sex either way. So basically, I think for those types of people, prostitution is not a bad alternative. I really wish that it's crazy, because from the stuff that I've researched, I guess street walking prostitution ranges anywhere from like $10-20 all the way up into a couple hundred. But the only legal prostitution is the Bunny Ranch in Nevada, and that stuff is extremely expensive. So I guess if you have lots of money and you can't get laid, which that doesn't really make sense to most people, but still happens, you could have guys that got millions of dollars and just don't know how to get laid. I guess the Bunny Ranch would be a good choice if you have money. If you do have to go the streetwalker route, that I don't know. That's where you're getting into a situation where it's kind of, I don't know. But like I said, I'm not for it or against it. I think in some people's situations, prostitution is a good thing. I don't need to worry about it myself, but I don't think it'll ever end. I don't think prostitution will ever go away. As a matter of fact, I think prostitution is getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and I'm surprised it's not talked about as much. It's talked about on the news a little bit, but I think it's a lot bigger than what it's talked about. You have the sex slave rings, And you know, you have the bad aspects of it where people are actually kidnapping people and using them to sell for sex. And on top of that, I do want to point out another form of prostitution that is overlooked, and it's not here, it's mostly overseas. And that is where basically some cultures you have to buy your wife. Some cultures you have to either trade commodities like your cows or your you know, some kind of commodity that you own. You have to trade some of that in order to marry your wife. It doesn't matter if you want to marry her or not. It's just a tradition there that if you want to marry her and you love this person, you have to offer up some of your possessions. And then there's also places in, like, I might be wrong, but I think in like India and places like that, where if two people want to get married, the male actually has to pay a certain amount of money before he can get married to that person's parents, because they look at it as when he marries her and takes her out of the household, they're taking away income from them. So, you know, another way to look at it, guys, that to me that's prostitution too. But I'm not going to sit here and hound on the subject forever. If you have anything you want me to talk about, my thoughts and opinions and why, leave them in the comments and let me know what you guys think about this new series. I'm out. Peace.